Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, back in another quarantine can edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And we're going to dive right into it because everybody's bored off our asses. So tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you guys do?
Hi, we're the Wild Things. I'm Shannon, and we're kind of just best mates, and we do a little bit of flying here and there. We attempt to fly some two-way dynamic in the tunnel, but we're kind of new at that. And we go to heaps of boogies and camps around the world and do heaps of fun free flying. And
you said you're the Wild Things.
Wild Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't hear you.
That's kind of our new little team we have going on. Like, it started that we wanted to do this two-way dynamic team in the tunnel, but now we kind of got a little bit things skated in the way.
Yeah.
Corona came in the way, and now we kind of just started doing all other kind of funny stuff. So now we do yoga together. We all kind of adventures together.
Nice. All right. Well, let's start out with names other than just the team name. So who are each of you?
So I'm Shannon. Most of people would know me from working for NZ Aerosports. I've been working there in marketing for about 10 years. So I'm from New Zealand originally, and I live in Australia now.
Okay.
So I work in digital marketing. I used to travel around a lot with canopies, demos and stuff for people to try out. And these days I kind of more just do the boogie circuit and camp circuit, free flying for fun.
Oh, gotcha. And who else we got?
So I'm Louise. And yeah, I'm living in Copenhagen. Not right now. Right now I'm stranded in Australia. But normally I live in Copenhagen. I'm studying in Copenhagen. But also skydiving at the same time, trying to live the best of both worlds, like keeping up with studies, but trying to be as much part of the skydiving scene at the same time.
That's pretty damn challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty challenging. And I'm definitely now been studying for 5 years, so I'm definitely starting to be a little bit exhausted in the studying. So it takes quite a bit of strength to I really have to finish my degree and not just jump way back into the skydiving again.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm trying to get the best out of both worlds at the moment.
Well, now you just finished exams.
Yeah, I finished exams a few days ago, so now I'm like
time to relax a little bit. Now, what's the degree in?
So I'm studying pharmaceutical design and engineering.
Okay, so pharmaceutical.
Yeah. So at some point I will be an engineer in designing pharmaceuticals. I have half a year left. I just need to write my master thesis now, and then I'm pretty much done.
Okay, so when you say designing pharmaceuticals, are you talking like chemically designing them or making them pretty and appealing?
She can make drugs.
You're going to make drugs. So you're going to be really popular on the drop zone when you get back into jumping hardcore.
But yeah, designing them chemically. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it's always safe to ask, right? So you're both in Australia, and obviously you're both kind of dealing with the quarantine the way the rest of us are, trying to keep busy and entertained because you said off mic that the drop zones there are not open yet. So you're kind of back to life before jumping, but how did you guys get into skydiving in the first place?
So mine was kind of the age-old tale of doing a tandem. I did my first tandem, I think, when I was 19 or 20 in Queenstown in New Zealand with a bunch of friends, and loved it from the get-go. Like, the guys that took us there, we hung out the whole day. It was bad weather before we got to jump that afternoon. Made friends with the tandem masters, camera flyers. Still my really good friends now, most of them. And yeah, a few months later, I was studying at the time. A few months later, went up to write a journalism piece for my university degree on a bunch of skydivers jumping at the military Air Force base there who were doing tandem jumps with kids affected by cancer, and met all of the people in the scene that were doing AFF, and ended up signing up for a static line course at that military base.
Oh, wow.
So that was a very weird introduction to skydiving. It was only 10 years ago, but the photos seriously look like it's out of the 1950s and static line.
And Louisa, how did you get started?
So I was kind of born into it a little bit. So both my mom and dad are in the skydiving industry.
Oh, wow.
So I remember when I was a kid and you get to that age where you start being curious and like they ask in school, so what does your parents do for work? And I kind of started getting interested in try to understand what they were actually doing. So both my mom and dad works for Larsen Brusgaard making altimeters.
Okay.
And yeah, of course, I started to get interested into this world, like what the skydiving world was about. So when I think I was 12 or 13, then I got my first tandem.
Oh, wow.
And got totally, like, I just loved it. And I remember seeing some freestyle videos and I was like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do. So when I was 14, I think I went and started flying in the tunnel a little bit.
Okay.
And then when I turned 16, I started my AFF in Ampuriya Brava and did I think 40 jumps the first week of my skydiving life. Just on and on. And yeah, I got right into the skydiving world.
I mean, that's kind of the daydream for every skydiver out there, is wishing we would have been able to start, as kids, and especially with the tunnels that are around nowadays. They didn't have stuff like that for old fuckers like me. I didn't have the opportunity to, to go play in a tunnel or do anything like that. I think, and I've said it many times, I think my biggest regret in skydiving was only that I didn't start much earlier in life. So how cool is that you knew you wanted to get into it that young?
Yeah, and I'm super grateful for my especially my parents helping me with this, that they knew about the world. And instead of, I could feel that my dad, he wanted me to give me the best introduction to the sport. Instead of holding me back or anything, he'd kind of just really helped me getting a good education in the sport and getting a lot of coaching from the start to be safe.
Which is awesome. I mean, I would think,
yes.
I would think parents would take it one of two ways, which is either I want my kid nowhere near this sport, or they're in it and I want them to have the best. That was your parents?
Yeah.
Now, so you went out and you made that first tandem in New Zealand, where it's very popular. I mean, everybody knows that New Zealand is this epic place to go jump. So they probably weren't shocked that you made a jump, but apparently they weren't happy that you continued.
No, so New Zealand is a funny place for jumping. It's getting a lot better now, but it's really well known around the world for adventure sports tourism and tandem jumping. And we have a lot of great tandem drop zones, very professional, very safe, really nice places for people to go and do tandems. But especially back then, 10 years ago, the sport was kind of in a slow spot and there really wasn't many people learning anymore or coming back through the ranks. It was very tandem orientated. So my parents didn't even know it was a sport, neither did I. None of us recognized this as a real sport. It was just something you did once in your life. So the fact that I wanted to do it more than that once was quite shocking to them. And they kept kind of not understanding. They kept thinking it for years, actually. They thought it was just a fad that I'd grow out of, that you couldn't really go anywhere with this sport. But I think it was just a lack of understanding, that there was competitions, that there was different disciplines, that there was more than just falling through the sky. Yeah, so there's a bit of a disconnect there. And it was also very slow in New Zealand. I did it over winter, which in Auckland is a bit rainy and cloudy. I think it took me 6 months to finish my static line, 5 jumps, and I was there every weekend and every Wednesday and Thursday, and it still took 6 months. So yeah, it's definitely come a long way. There's some really nice flyers coming out of New Zealand now, and they got their first little tunnel there a few years ago in Queenstown. So that's nice to see that progress.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny that you say your parents got pretty upset when you wanted to continue jumping. I was lucky enough to spend a season jumping for ballistic blondes out of the Bay of Islands in Paihia and in Whangarei.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I had a great time doing all that. But when you say your Kiwi parents got very upset, to me that registers as they were mildly irritated.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, like my mum's just, protective, like all mums are. It wasn't like the biggest deal, but it was definitely something they thought I was just going to stop. But no, they weren't mad. Like, I don't know if Kiwis really get all that mad. They're pretty cruisy about it.
I mean, I think the angriest I've ever seen a Kiwi is he lifted his eyebrow up at something that annoyed him. That was it. They're the most mellow, nice people, which is one of the things that caught me off guard. Of course, in skydiving, is you go to some place like New Zealand and you're used to this crazy, screaming, over-the-top atmosphere at drop zones, and there it's so mellow.
Yeah, it's really chilled.
Yeah, no.
Same as Australia. Australia's like that as well. Super cruisy. Really nice scene here. Friendly people. It's
now,
awesome.
How'd you end up? Well, first off, how'd you end up getting started working for NZ Aerosports? Because I mean, that's kind of like the gold standard for a lot of people.
Well, this was my university was kind of the ticket into all of this stuff. You know how I said about doing the Air Force article and stuff. And then when I was doing my static line at the Air Force Base, that's where the test jumpers from Aerosports and Gyro used to come out every Wednesday to test jump their canopies leading up to the development of Petra. So it was called the Summer of Love. That was kind of what we ended up naming this summer. And I was like the one lonely student at the drop zone, hanging out, listening to every word, headed back into the city with them every night for debrief and cocktails at the factory. Got to know them really well. And they just started a Facebook page. But, you know, all the guys were, 40 plus at the time, and they had no idea how to work Facebook. So they asked me if I could start making some posts for them and doing some writing and some pictures and everything. So that's kind of how it started. And I was just doing an hour here and there. And then I kept ditching my university and my other job to spend full 8-hour days there. And somehow it just turned into a job. And now it's 10 years later.
Now, the real question is, what do mom and dad think of that? Because you basically did what a lot of people have done, which is fuck off university to take up a life in skydiving.
No, I graduated.
You did?
With
Okay,
honors. And I work in marketing, which is semi-related to my degree. I did a journalism and advertising degree. So I definitely use all of those skills every day in my job. It just happened to also be skydive related. I did manage to graduate. It was a struggle, but
Shannon is my biggest inspiration. I need to graduate too.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Because I'd say 75% of the college student turned skydivers don't ever graduate. Or many of them get those degrees and put them to absolutely no use because they were going in for something completely unrelated to the job they end up doing in skydiving.
Totally.
Well, and although Louisa, yours is going to crisscross back and forth anyway, even if you get a degree in chemical engineering for... I mean, I suppose it's not quite the golden era of partying and skydiving anymore, but there was a time when that would have been your full-time gig for sure.
I feel like we've switched the rock and roll culture to like a kombucha and yoga culture.
Yeah.
Definitely in Australia, the camps are very heavy in that.
It has, hasn't it? I mean, it's always been kind of the hippie set, I mean, dirty feet and drum circles and shit like that. But it's at least from my perspective, and granted my perspective is I've been in it a while now, the party scene seems to have not died off, but definitely changed into something a little bit more mellow. So how'd you end up in Australia if you were working with NZ Aerosports in New Zealand?
I was kind of just chasing the dream. There's just not lots of camps and boogies and events happening in New Zealand. As I said, it's really progressing now, and there is a lot of really cool stuff happening with, for example, skydiving Kiwis down in the South Island with Lee and Sophie, and Hayden at the skydiving school up at Skydive Auckland. The Ballistic Blondes used to be awesome to fund them up there. So there's definitely cool stuff happening. But it's still a little slower than the rest of the world. There's not a lot of tunnels yet. And I just wanted to be able to push forward and grow in a skydiving scene. And I was finding myself living in New Zealand, but traveling to Australia 5, 6, 8 times a year to do events, and started realizing that just wasn't economically smart. I was doing Europe summers already. So I was spending less and less time in New Zealand and lots of money traveling back there. So I decided to make the move to Australia, and Jair nicely offered for me to be able to work remotely because I kind of handed my notice, and he was like, well, we don't want you to leave. Can you just keep working from your computer? So that was 4 years ago now, and so that's now what I do. I live summers here in Australia, and I generally head to Europe for 3 or 4 months in the summer, except this summer because
Right.
Corona decided that we'd be here.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome,
Yeah.
though. And I mean, what a great way to end up there. I mean, I know exactly what you mean simply from the time that I spent working with Ballistic Blondes, because as a tandem instructor, it was heaven. I had very slow weekdays, basically sitting on the beach waiting for walk up customers. Weekends would be a little bit busier, but I spent most of my days just being a beach bum, which was amazing. But if I was a fun jumper, you'd go nuts, because especially with the Blondes in the Bay of Islands, it was a 30-minute van ride to the airport for a 30-minute airplane ride to jump onto the beach. So
Yeah.
not a great fun jumper model.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and especially considering you'd only put one fun jumper at a time in the 182 we were flying, not a lot happening on solos every
All I'm
time.
looking to feel.
Yeah. Now, Louisa, you started out in the sport and you started jumping in the sport, so obviously your dad wanted to aim you in the right direction and make sure that you were learning all the good stuff. When did you know, I really want to get into this? I want to be jumping my ass off.
That was like pretty much from day one when I did my AFF. I really got into the free fly scene. I just loved the feeling of, like, I always wanted to find a sport where I could use my body, like in gymnastics and stuff like that, but kind of never really found the perfect sport for me until I found skydiving, and I realized this is exactly the type of body awareness, body movement I'm looking for. But this was at the same time that I was in high school, so that was a little bit complicated. Like, I kind of had to promise my parents, like, okay, I'll finish high school. They're gonna help me start skydiving, and of course help, because as a student, there's no way I could afford getting into skydiving without their support.
Sure.
So we kind of made that deal of like, yeah, I have to finish high school, I have to do well in high school, and then they can help me do the skydiving life at the same time. But yeah, I was pretty much into it from day one, like also because I kind of started in the tunnel a few years before the AFF, and already there I just loved the flying, and
Sure.
and then the skydiving showed me this skydiving community, which was like, everyone was having opening arms to me when I got into the skydiving world, and I just felt like it was a perfect place for me to be. And I still feel like that. That's like 10 years later today, and I still have the exact same feeling about the skydiving community and the skydiving life, that it's still like some of the best place to be.
Oh yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've got probably a couch in almost every country in the world that I can go flop
Exactly.
on. Just from friends and acquaintances in the sport. Which, where else do you get that? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Exactly. To me, it's like, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a sport for me. It's my life. That's how I feel like my whole life kind of actually just grew around skydiving, and skydiving is such a big part of who I am today. So I could not imagine myself without that that in my life.
Now, do your parents, are they active jumpers, or were they ever active jumpers?
Yeah, so both my mom and dad were active jumpers. I think my dad stopped when I was like 3-4 years old.
Okay.
And then when I started skydiving, he started skydiving again.
Nice.
So we actually have a few jumps together, which is awesome. I remember we have a jump where I'm doing some of my first head up jumps, and he's filming me. He's laying on his belly filming me. That's pretty special to do that with your dad.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I think he stopped maybe last year, something like that. He's not jumping anymore.
Okay.
Now it's only me jumping.
Just, and
Just, yeah.
And what about mom? Was mom not a terribly active jumper?
I think not sure how many jumps she has, but yeah, she that was before I was born that she was an active jumper. She's done quite a few tandems here and there now after I started jumping. I actually she did a tandem in Dubai when I was laying next to her.
Oh, nice.
Over the palm. That was a pretty special experience.
It had to be. Well, anytime you get to do something like that. I shot video for my mom's first tandem. God, I think I was 2 years in the sport. And then many years later, in fact, I think 2 years ago, rolled out the door and watched my dad do his first ever tandem, which was really cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah, something I swore he was never going to do. I didn't ever think he'd do it, and he shocked me by asking if he could go make a tandem. So it was awesome.
Maybe there's hope for my mum yet.
Yeah.
Mum, are you listening?
Have either of your parents jumped?
No, neither of mine have. I have a twin sister, and she's done 2. She was part of the group of friends that we did the original tandem together, and she's done one since I was a jumper. I was actually meant to film her. A friend of mine took her on the tandem, but I was on the jump before as well, and we got out in a hailstorm and landed like 5 paddocks away and didn't make it back in time for her jump.
Oh no.
So yeah, she wasn't too impressed at that, but
yeah, that can happen. I tell you what, that's one of my biggest memories with New Zealand is a bad spot can get really interesting really quick.
yeah.
There's outs everywhere, but there's outs fucking 5 hills over, and you never, at least where I was jumping,
exactly.
you know.
And we jump into funny weather as well over there.
Yes. Yes. Well, you know what threw me off more than anything with New Zealand was the no age restriction for tandems.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of the like tandem masters kids and stuff have been really young.
Oh yeah.
They love it though.
You know, as an American tandem instructor, I had real mixed feelings on that. The first time I took anybody under 18 was in Whangarei at the drop zone that Ballistic Blondes had there, and it was it was a 4-year-old.
Oh, that's really young.
Yeah.
Normally it's drop zone kids if it's that young, but there are a few exceptions.
It was this one. I was super uncomfortable, and it was the father of a large group of kids, I think 4 or 5 kids, and he wanted everybody to jump. And the 4-year-old would have been just as happy sitting in the dirt playing with his little cars. But Dad was insistent that this kid had to go, and the kid basically had no reaction to the whole thing at all. I was freaking the fuck out. Because I had somebody's 4-year-old strapped to me, so I spent the whole free fall holding on to the kid. But I had to turn around and take his 9-year-old sister on a tandem next, and I'm pretty sure she's traumatized for life. I'm pretty sure I've done irreparable damage to that poor kid because she was so fucking freaked out. She couldn't speak. She just shook for like 20 minutes after the jump. So I was horrified.
Transformed her into a shredder. Maybe now she's like some crazy extreme sports athlete.
She could be.
Just like got her over that fear early.
Yeah, that's my hope. I actually actively tried to talk the dad out of it. I'm like, I really don't think she wants to go, but Dad was having none of it. He wanted her to jump. So, oh well. Yeah, it was kind of freaky. I'm personally not a big fan of the younger kids like that going. I think at least past 10 or 12 would be okay, but 4 and 9 a little too young for me. So now, you guys, Louisa, I know you're doing Project 19, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, are both of you in Project 19?
Yeah. Well, we were both signed up to go to the Abu Dhabi camp, which was meant to be soon,
Right.
and then
June.
Yeah, and then the actual record at the end of the year. But now it's all shifted. Yeah, I'm guessing I'll go as well. It had been a little bit difficult to get to some warm-up camps, but I've been talking to Amy and Sarah, and the plan was for me to go and attend on the bench and work my way up from there since I couldn't get to a warm-up. So we'll see what the future holds, because now we don't know how many more warm-ups there'll be and when we'll be able to get back there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, I aim on being there.
COVID's definitely put everything on hold, but I've actually talked to a couple of people that are involved in Project 19, but I've never really asked how that particular project got started. Do you guys know the history of it all?
No, I don't know too much about it, and I kind of just got on it. That was like late last year that I started to be involved, but I haven't been that much involved in it. And now I'm just training personally to get ready for the record, for my own skills to be there.
Sure.
But for the whole Project 19 camp, I don't know too much about it.
Okay. All right. Well, it's something for future podcasts. I'll keep digging. Now,
For sure.
I do know that it involves pretty much every badass female skydiver on the planet.
Exactly. That's the cool part about it.
Oh, yeah. It's just awesome. It really is an incredible field of people. And I mean, every single time another name comes up, you're like, yep, absolutely. It's going to be an.
And already now you can feel like the community behind it. And it's just like how many ladies here that are supporting each other and making all these camps. It's just, it's so incredible to be part of this now. It's such a cool power. It's such a cool energy that they are creating, these ladies.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Well, and
that's going to be really interesting to follow.
I've had Cornelia Mihai and Olga Namova on a couple of times on the podcast and talked to, I just had Kaz Shiki on, all these amazing female athletes. And one of the coolest things, at least in my opinion, about modern skydiving today is there's really no separation between male and female in this sport because it's not needed. And they always used to have this separation between men and women because everybody thought that's how it should be. But skydiving is a sport where a woman can kick a man's ass just like that. Because it has...
it's a really cool thing how it's mixed and how we get to do that. I think that's nicer. I personally love mixed events, and especially events that encourage the guys and girls to work together, and for guys to look into how to coaching girls differently and how to make girls feel comfortable.
Sure.
Because I think that's a really big part of the sport as well, is that I think sometimes through these kind of gender roles in society that we grow up with, sometimes there is a little bit of like uncomfortability for girls coming into the sport. And that's why it's so cool that there's so many girls events being run where the girls feel really comfortable. But it's also really nice to include that with mix to get comfortable in that environment and understand how, women can learn differently. And it's really cool to have some really high-level women coaches these days, in the tunnel. Inka has been a really good influence and teacher for me. And I remember it was just so cool, like when my body was doing something and sometimes the guys would be like, oh, you just do this. And I'd be looking at them going, but you're 6'3" and like tall and thin, and my body doesn't look like yours. And if the fighter jet tried to do the same thing as like an A380, it wouldn't have the same reaction. Like how, if I do exactly what you do, it's not going to happen. And I think it's been so valuable lately with so many high-level women coaches these days, the Joy Riders. There's so many more. There's so many great women coaches these days. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, no, it's finally to the point where, especially if you're, and I would imagine if you're a younger woman coming into the sport, it's still a bit of a boys' club if you're looking on the surface. It's mostly a bunch of bravado guys storming around doing their thing. I think everybody can admit that, but nowadays you've got so many badass women that are doing as much, if not more, than their male counterparts. I don't think this sport would be nearly as intimidating for a woman coming in off the street, not really knowing what's going on.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's becoming way less intimidating.
Yeah, and actually, me and Shannon also quite often have these talks about like how we actually also feel that we've both been supported a lot by the boys in the sport as well. I don't think we've ever felt, what's the word, intimidated?
Yeah, intimidated or marginalized.
It's actually always been like the perfect balance for us. I just love this mix that we have of men and women in the sport. And I feel there's a lot of power from both the men supporting the ladies in the sport, and I'm sure there's going to be so many men supporting this Project 19. They're going to be cheering for us, and I really like this balance of having. I just think it's a really great balance that we have in the sport with the support from both men and women.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and the other cool thing too is, at least towards the general public, a skydiver is a skydiver in my eyes. Any accomplishment that a group of skydivers, male or female, accomplishes is something that I just, by being a skydiver, get to take some pride in, which is cool as hell.
Yeah, exactly. I love Cornelia puts it in one way. She said a few times to me about like, when we've done bios for her for work as an athlete and everything, women's world record this, and she'll be like, yeah, but I'm going for the normal record. I don't want to just be the women's champion and the women's world record. She's like, I'm a skydiver. I'm going to get the world record.
Exactly.
Doesn't want to differentiate. And I love that. I think that's an awesome attitude that like, it's not enough to be just the best out of one group or to split that between male and female, but like we're all in it together. So to be the best at something or to be competing in something is against everyone. That's a really nice equal and kind of competitive thing to do, and I really like that spirit.
Oh yeah, no, she's a super hard charger when it comes to that. When I had her on the show, she was very much I hope they don't ever separate male and female. There's no reason, if I win, I want to win as a skydiver, not as a female skydiver. I was actually just out to wake surfing the other day with her, as a matter of fact, and again, same thing, hard charging, fuck this, I want to get this done, trying to get in there over and over and over again, and she's just a badass. And that's not a male or female trait, that's just a badass trait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now this team that you guys have formed, what's the team? What's the goal? Where do you want to go with it?
the goal is pretty much just good vibes. We just wanna spread good vibes, spread good energy. Of course, do skydiving, tunnel flying, yoga, everything that just involves having fun and living the good life.
Nice.
Spreading the good vibes.
We've both kind of been searching for this for a while, I think, in skydiving. And we have this funny thing. We say we've been living parallel lives because we started skydiving around the same time. There's a little bit of an age difference. So I was 21 and Louisa was 16 when we started skydiving, opposite sides of the world.
Right.
But, about the same year. We also rode horses before we started skydiving for about the same years for that as well, and both quit when we started skydiving. There's been lots of other things. We've bumped into each other, for the last 8 or 9 years at events, been in similar groups at Fly for Lifes and Angle Weeks and all sorts of stuff, and both kind of been looking for someone to do a team with and done lots of teams over the years, had lots of fun with that, but never really found something that clicked long term. And then last summer we kind of we were at Angle Week together and traveling together for the summer to Boogies, and realized that we both had really similar goals and similar values, and we were really into similar things when it came to health and lifestyle and travel, and that our timelines matched up really well to kind of start doing this team together. And I think that was a really nice clicking moment for us. And it's not just about the skydiving. I mean, we really do have goals to fly in the tunnel, and we've got a lot of time booked at Fly Spots, so when we can get back to Europe, we will be flying lots of time. So we will be training and aiming to go to some competitions with it. But yeah, I think the most important thing for us is the people we meet along the way. And, it's really nice right now. We haven't lost that connection. So pretty much every day we have either yoga or acro training with Inka and Aga. And a bunch of freestyle ladies and guys, which was really cool, that a bunch of the guys are joining in as well, to train every day working on yoga for freestyle and yoga for tunnel flying. And there's this really nice community feel of just, having positive energy and positive vibes and sharing knowledge.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of more why both of us are in it, not necessarily with some goal.
Especially something like yoga ties in so well to freestyle and free flying, because it requires such body awareness, not just in regular yoga, but in acro especially. In fact,
and body movement's such a big thing. I think with flying, that's what fascinates us as well, that progression of how you can move and bend your body, how the wind responds, and that constant, you're never there. There's never one point where you're like, okay, I've made it. I can do that. I can do everything. It's like you get where you wanted to be, and then there's, 10 more steps ahead.
Sure.
And that's very similar in yoga and stuff like that as well. It's like, it's not about the finished pose or whatever you're working towards. It's about this whole journey with all those multiple things that you learn on the way.
Sure. No, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I had the opportunity to do acro with you, Louisa.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was some of my first acro yoga sessions, and I remember some pretty good sessions.
That was on the lawn in Canggu in Bali. That was cool as hell. I still remember that. It was a lot of fun because one of our mutual friends was in the background playing the ukulele as we're working on acro. And
Awesome.
Exactly. That was actually what introduced me to acro yoga, and now I'm super into it.
See, look at that. Something else I can accidentally take credit for.
Yeah.
So with the blending of all these different things that you guys are putting into the team, is there a specific type of competing tunnel-wise? Are you aiming more towards that? Are you aiming more towards the sky? Or is it not even really a competition thing, but just a spread in the love kind of thing?
So for now, I think we're really into the tunnel flying. We already did a few competitions in two-way dynamic in the intermediate dive pool. So that's a little bit more simple dive pool than the more advanced one. And I think that's kind of our goal for now, to really get good as a two-way dynamic team.
And that's that's not an easy discipline. I mean, holy shit, that's tough.
No, but we've got this. We have lots of good coaches and lots of good support. So yeah, at the moment as soon as we can, obviously fly again. Our goal is to work on learning the few moves of the open dive pool that we can't do well yet, like the head down 360s and some of the more complicated.
And also to build a free routine. That's also going to take a little bit of
which we're really looking forward to, because we feel like that kind of combines all of our loves of the yoga and the acro and the flying into one to make something really cool. But it's definitely going to take some work to get competition ready with that one, but we're willing to put the work in.
Well, now, and I have very limited knowledge of how everything in the tunnel works, but the dynamic is the slightly slower airspeed, but much more over-the-top movements, yes?
Well, these days it's actually high wind speed. Like a lot of the really top teams are flying on really high wind speeds, up to like 100% things. Maybe the free routine's a bit less. I don't feel like I'm quite at the level to be able to speak on what the high-level teams do. But yeah, I wouldn't call it low-speed flying anymore with the dynamic. I think it's mostly done on higher speeds. But it's when you fly 3 pages of 3 moves, so 3 times. And then so you do speed rounds based on the how fast you can do the rounds. And then there's one free routine that you do, which is like one that you design yourself.
Well, now, so how do you guys, especially trying to work through, granted you work remotely, which must make life much easier when you're doing stuff like this, especially because it's in the sport.
Yes.
But Louisa, with you going to school and everything, tunnel flying, well, skydiving, anything air sports wise, this shit is not cheap. So how do you manage, how do you handle the travel and the tunnel time and the jumping and all that and still go to school and do all this? I mean, that sounds insane to me.
Yeah, so I'm definitely getting a lot of support from my family, especially they're helping with me with all the expenses because as a student, there's no I can't afford the skydiving life that I'm living right now. I have a job as well next to my university, which is related to what I study. But it's not enough to actually make me live the skydiving life that I live now. Right now I'm just really grateful for the support from my parents helping me in this world.
So you just say that you found alternate sponsorship.
Yeah.
Be a much better way than saying that. Yeah, alternate sponsorship is taking care of that stuff. So now you're about to go through your finals and then you've graduated?
Yeah, so I'm going to start writing my master thesis in August, and that's going to be half a year into a specific research project. And then I should be done by February 2021. And then I'm a pharmaceutical engineer. Then I'm done.
All right.
Full-time
and full-time skydiver.
Yeah. So now that's the question: is you become, you finish all this, you get out of school, and are you just going to go jump for fun and a living now, or are you going to actually pursue a career in your chosen field?
So right now, I don't really know exactly what I will be doing after when I'm done with my degree. One thing is sure that I'm still super interested in what I'm studying. I love to study the body and health and everything. And so I would love to get into something that can help us understand how to prevent the use of medicine in later life or diseases and so on.
Sure.
Because that's also a big part of my degree is one thing is to design medicine, but it's also to understand why, what leads us to this need of medicine at some point in life. So I hope that I can somehow turn my degree into, something like how we can live a healthier lifestyle, how we can prevent all sort of disorders later in life.
Nice.
So I don't know exactly where I'm going to go with my degree. I still feel like I'm 25 now, and I feel like I still have some years to go out and do stuff and explore, and travel. And I like to see life in like different chapters. And I feel like this university chapter has been super interesting, and I love what I'm studying, and I'm super passionate about it. But I do feel like I kind of need a little bit of a different chapter now after this degree. What's that going to be? I have no idea yet.
Well, and what a bizarre time to be going through all of this as well, because you're going through a major transition in life, as everybody does around that age, where you're kind of going from the stuff that you get to do as being a kid and then figuring out how you want to transition into whatever being an adult means. But now, with this corona shit that's just jumped on top of everybody, I don't see us coming out the backside of this living the same life we did just 3-4 months ago. You know, I mean, things are gonna change and have changed dramatically. So it'll be a really interesting time to see where this all morphs into now.
Yeah, I think we've been struggling a little bit with not being able to make plans because our lives both revolved so heavily around traveling and booking flights and booking events. You know, we had probably, I don't know, 15 events lined up in Europe this summer that are all cancelled. And so it took a little bit of adjustment for our minds to go, okay, now we just plan day to day. And it's not about planning what's happening in 6 months, and it's not even worth thinking about or worrying about it. But it's just like, cool, this week we're going to do these 5 things, and planning a different type of adventure and trying to make the most of that, just to prevent kind of the anxiety of not being able to live those normal lives that we had and not being able to plan for the future. But I think for the most part, we've stayed really positive about it. And
I feel like we've been really good in finding activities to do here right now, and not be that dependent on the traveling life, but realize that we can actually have fun here in the house with the ukuleles and just do yoga 3 times a day.
We've also been very fortunate. Like, I have to admit, we've been super fortunate. You know, I still have a job, which is great. You know, a lot of people probably don't in this time. You know, Louise's university became online and remote, so she could do it from here. We're in a really nice place. We're at my house in the Gold Coast where I live with friends. We're in a really safe country that has great healthcare, and we've been able to go outdoors and go to the ocean pretty much through the whole thing, except for our 2 weeks of quarantining. And so we've been really, really lucky and fortunate to keep that connection to the outdoors. And that's been really influential in keeping, you know, those positive vibes and energy alive in us. So I know that a lot of people are struggling, and we've been very lucky.
And also just the part that we are so lucky that we've kind of been quarantined together, like me and Shannon as best friends, is pretty much, that's pretty lucky for us that we could have this time together. And because
we definitely had a chance to be lonely, which is nice, you know. And we've had lots of nice online connections with people. It's super lucky that we're here. We've been able to do heaps of team stuff that we kind of never would have taken time off jumping to, you know, just talk about other things that we want to do and make plans. And now we've kind of had all of the time in the world to do that. So, yeah.
It's definitely forced people to reassess a lot of things, for sure. I mean, because I like a lot of people, before this all happened, yearned for the day when I could just take a week and flop on the couch and watch Netflix and be a complete bum. And now it's the worst fucking thing ever. And it's...
Yeah, and both of us talk so much about how we wanted to get our bodies ready for this team, like physically for the tunnel, and treating this like a sport. And we talked a lot about what we wanted to do with yoga and acro. And to be honest, like, we were so busy with work and study and flying that we never managed to fit that in. And now it's like it's been forced on us, and it's been kind of nice to prioritize that. And really, it's kind of like a different goal.
It's funny how I see it hit different people different ways, because for you guys, it motivated you to do a lot of that stuff. But for a lot of my friends, this has been very demotivating, and they're having a tough time even doing the home workouts that they can do because they're just too busy sitting on the couch watching the next thing that comes on Netflix. Or, I mean, I am one of many of my friends that have decided to take a break from drinking because holy shit, you can get through a lot of wine in a quarantine.
I think that's where we come into being lucky with having each other as well, because probably we would have been more likely to be like that if we were alone. But with the two of us, it's like one person gets up and decides to do yoga, it's like the other one does too, you know. Like
it's almost like we've been more busy during this time than in our normal life, because we both have work and studies. We kind of still have everything normal, and then we just top it up with all the activities that we're trying to fit in at the same time. Which I'm actually really grateful that I can't even say that I passed my exams yet, so I shouldn't say that. But I hope I did.
It was the most comfortable exam setting ever. She's like up in my room with like the diffuser on and crystals and plants. I
was very relaxed about those exams. Never been that relaxed in all the 5 years of my studies before. So I'm not sure that's a good or bad sign. But
well, we're gonna have to check back in after the fact and find out how you did. I'm gonna be curious now. Yeah, when the quarantine hit for me, I had 3 days before moved in with my girlfriend of 2 years. So I went from living alone for 8 years to being with my girlfriend for 2 days before we got locked down.
Oh, wow.
So it was a test.
Yeah.
It was definitely a good test. But just like you guys, at the end of it all, it turned out to be great not to be on my own. I would have gone ape shit by now with this much time locked down. It would have there's no way it would have turned out good. No way.
I feel like me and Shannon kind of also had this team on a little test here. Now we've been like spending 2 months together, literally 24 hours. So now we can prove that our team we can do anything now because we don't get tired of each other. We're good.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and especially by the time you get to where you guys are, where you can, I'm sure, finish each other's sentences on the ground, that's going to translate really well into the air.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, there's no way. If you're doing yoga together and all this other stuff and the tunnel, oh, come on. No, you guys are going to be great. So
my mum already calls her second daughter, which offended my twin sister. Because for a second we forgot she already had a second daughter. So Louise is part of the family now.
So
the other day we went horse riding, and Shannon sent her mom some video of her horse riding, and her mom was like, "Can you send me some videos of Louise going horse riding?"
I was like,
awesome.
"Thanks, Mom. You don't want to see your daughter anymore. Okay."
So now, once the quarantine lifts, Louise, you go back to Copenhagen?
Yes, so I'm going to go back to Copenhagen in June. Okay. I wasn't supposed to be here in Australia. The whole thing was that I was going to go for 1 week to Perth for some tunnel training in February, which I did, and then to Bali for a yoga retreat, and then I was going to go home from Bali to Copenhagen. But then my flight got cancelled because of Corona and everything going on. So I made a quick decision of going back to Australia with Shannon, just so I wouldn't be stranded in Bali on my own.
Right.
Made it to Australia, and then we actually got in isolation for 2 weeks because everyone that arrived to Australia had to isolate themselves. Right. That was by law. And then I was going to go back to Copenhagen, but because of everything just going crazy, I realized I might as well stay in Australia, stay where I am, just freeze and do my studies from here, do my work from here, and then wait until everything kind of settled down a little bit. Now I have a flight back.
Considering how well Australia has done in dealing with the virus, you made the right decision. You certainly did not want to be stuck in Indonesia.
No.
I love Bali to death, but I would not have wanted to be stranded in Bali during all of this. That would have been rough.
And that was exactly why I made a quick decision of getting to Australia, because then I was like, I'm at least going to go to Australia, and then I can take it from there.
Sure.
And see how I'm going to get home from there.
So I assume with the team stuff, since you're based out of Copenhagen and you're in Australia, it's fly to and meet up at different events and go that way?
Yeah, so mostly, I do Europe summers. So generally the plan was for me to be there for this summer, and then maybe part of this winter as well, before everything went crazy. The plan was to be there for a little bit while Louisa finished her thesis so we could train, and then kind of start, the real training. Once she finishes in January, then we could really both go full on into it. And so that's still kind of the plan for when she finishes in February, and then, maybe in the future, try and do Aussie events during summer here and Europe events during summer there.
Nice.
And some in the seasons in between are generally the tunnel comps and stuff. So we should be able to somehow work it out so that we can cover everything anyway.
Kind of the
still
best
a little bit
of
yet
both
to be
worlds.
decided.
So now, as things lighten up in Australia, is there any word of when the drop zones are going to open again in the tunnels?
So some states have. I believe that Western Australia and Perth, I think they're jumping this weekend coming. As of yet, I'm not sure when Queensland, which we're in the Gold Coast, I haven't heard anything about when we're opening up. But I assume it's not going to be too far away, maybe a few weeks, and they'll start doing loads and stuff again. But no, I haven't really followed it. As far as I'm a bit more of an event jumper, to be honest. And so I'm not so much of a weekend jumper.
Sure.
So I haven't really followed it religiously to see when it's going to open up. But I'm sure I'll hear as soon as it does, yeah.
I mean, Shan's gear is in Melbourne right now, and we're in the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
so.
I sent my gear back from Perth with a friend. So AK has my gear at the moment in Melbourne. And Melbourne's freezing in winter, so there's no way I'm jumping there when it opens up.
Right.
So at some point I'll have to get my gear back and travel north to where it's endless summer in Australia.
Right.
I hear rumours of some lovely winter boogies that might be happening up in Cairns with some certain people here. So I'm holding out for news on that, and we'll go north as soon as I get confirmation.
Now, do you guys have any confirmed competitions coming up that, at least for now, are still on the books?
No, so they were cancelled. So we were in the Australian Nationals and they just got cancelled a couple of days ago. So that was for September. And we were planning to do the Polish Open again, which is normally around November, but I'm not sure if that will be happening. And we kind of had this a maybe goal of going to the Win Games next year, but that was really reliant on us doing our training time this year in Poland, which we're not going to have done.
Sure.
So that might push out to the year later, but that's definitely on our bucket list for competitions.
We are doing everything we can to train on the ground right now.
Sure. Well, yoga three times a day.
We even said we need to go to a mall and get some dolls so we can start walking, train the rounds here, all the speed rounds on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not really any substitute when you don't have tunnels and you can't jump. There's not really any way you can train properly.
Yeah, I did message my friends that we actually have a couple of tunnels closed. They're very small. They're 12-footers, one in the Gold Coast, one in Brisbane. So I did actually message the guys up in Brisbane and ask when they're reopening. And they said maybe in a few weeks' time. So we may be able to go and do some little tunnel training in the 12E for a bit, get our fix.
I love that. Nice. I love that the 12-footers are kind of slumming it now. Yeah, we'll deal with it.
I know. We're so spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, I started flying in the Las Vegas tunnel in 1995, and that's a DC-3 propeller mounted in the floor of this tunnel, and you have to wear a massive baggy suit to actually fly around the room. And it's a
I don't
blast.
think Louise was born there.
Yeah, no, that would be about the same as not having a tunnel, basically. So.
Yeah. Well, the first one I was in was this little one in New Zealand, an open air tunnel. It's basically the wind is like a mushroom, kind of strong in the middle, but then just peters off towards the outside.
Yep.
And it's so small that your feet and arms are outside of the air when you're flying in it. Yep. It's really fun, but you definitely can't fly dynamic.
Yeah, no. I've only flown in one outdoor one, and then I think it was Switzerland used to have a really large outdoor one, and the air column would actually get blown if there was a breeze, so you could actually find yourself flying off the net because the air column was curving with the wind, which just sounded like a fucking horrible idea to me.
There's some really cool outdoor ones now. I've seen videos and stuff. I think it's the Aerodium or whatever. And I've seen, some of our friends from Poland were flying on skis in it and stuff, silly stuff.
Right.
Pretty funny.
So, hopefully as things start kicking back in and you guys get training and all that, have you guys got a website, Instagram, Facebook, or anything that people can follow you on and track what's going on?
So we just started an Instagram profile called Where the Wild Things Fly.
Awesome.
And it's kind of there's a lot of yoga on it, a lot of acro yoga as well. So that's definitely where we want to share our journey to, hopefully a competition one day in the tunnel. But just sharing the good vibes, sharing how it is how we're going to do the training, how we're going to get where we want to get.
Awesome. Now, do you guys do coaching and stuff as well?
Not in the tunnel. In the sky, I do a little bit here in Australia. So I did a bunch of events with Mason Corby. He was one of my biggest coaches and inspirations here in Australia that has been teaching me for years. And he runs some really awesome camps here, free fly camps called Down Under Dynamics. So I coach for him sometimes now at his events there, which is super fun. I love doing that. And some events in New Zealand and other small ones. We both really want to get into doing more of the coaching side of things for sure in the sky.
Awesome. Well, it sounds to me like please go ahead, please.
I've not done much coaching yet, but it's something that I really want to get into. Now I feel like I've been in the sport for 10 years and now I feel like I'm starting to get to a point where I want to give back a little bit and maybe help other girls get into the sport. And I feel like it's my time to give back to the sport. I've been given a lot and I want to give back.
Well, and I should get I think being able to coach and to pass it on also fits in very much with your feel for the community of it. That's very much what skydiving is all about. Most of us only got where we are because someone was willing to help us out.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I think what I love about coaching is that some of my best friends right now in skydiving, I have a great little crew of of guys that I call my older brothers. And all of them I actually met at Down Under Dynamics, and they were my students for quite a few camps. And they progressed so much, that they've been jumping hard, at all the events. And they've progressed so much that now when we go to events, we're all in the same group. And it's amazing. And there's been some really great relationships and friendships formed on that. And I just want more people to fly with. I want more people up in the top groups with us.
Sure.
It's the best thing and the best feeling of when you've seen someone's journey like that, and then now you're able to just go, fly with them, and they can fly circles around you. I think that's amazing.
Sure. Oh, I used to love being both a tandem instructor and an AFF instructor for what almost sounds like more selfish reasons. I loved seeing that light bulb moment that people would have when they figured it out, when it clicked, when they understood that they could do something, and I'd get to kind of go, I did that. And it was such a wonderful feeling to know that you had passed it on to somebody else, So it almost is a little bit selfish because I want that feeling for me that I've passed that on to them.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a win-win. I think that's a really nice thing all around. And I think that's maybe why such good friendships are built out of that, because you're both kind of feeling gratified by that. By that feeling of accomplishment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So one more time, what's the Instagram page people are going to follow you on?
Where Wild Things Fly.
Where Wild Things Fly. Louise, are you going to post your exam scores?
It depends.
If it just goes radio silent and you never hear from Louisa again, you know why.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk to me. I know you've got a spare amount of time right now, but you got to fit me in through all the yoga stuff. So thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you
It's
so
been a
much.
pleasure. Thank you.
You guys take care. We'll see you soon.
You too.
Bye.
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 Once again, there you go. Another quarantine edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you, of course, as always, by the greatest magazine in the known universe, Blue Skies Magazine. Head over to blueskiesmag.com. Subscribe to the magazine if you don't already. Really cool swag. Check out all the shit that they've got. Submit those photos. Submit that writing. All kinds of nice changes going on as well. A real online presence going on with Blue Skies Mag. So head over there and check it out. Brought to you as well by Liquid Sky. Liquid Sky jumpsuits, obviously badass jumpsuits. I didn't even realize these guys are doing karting jumpsuits and all kinds of stuff, as well as the skydiving jumpsuits. But, and I'm sure you know this by now, they are also doing Liquid Sky Mask. LiquidSkyMask.com. Right now you can still go order those custom masks to help out with all things Corona. If you don't know how it works, you buy one mask from them and they will automatically make another mask to donate to someone else that needs it. So super, super cool cause. For me, I am The Fucking Pilot. You find me at thefuckingpilot.net, where you can get both the books that I've written, the Blue Skies Fucking Pilot book and the Accidental Stripper. Both of those are available in digital and print, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through the audio on the Accidental Stripper, so it's coming. It's coming. Anyway, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time around.